Hello everyone, and welcome back to our English First Additional Language Lessons by Miss T.L.L. 24 English First Additional Language, stemming from grade 10 up until grade 12. And a very warm welcome again to the 2024 academic year. I believe that it's important to punch the year with hard work, and for us to punch the year with hard work, we need to know what is expected from us, the class of 2024, in as far as English is concerned, bearing in mind that English is the heartbeat of the curriculum, as it is the language of teaching and learning, and it cuts across the curriculum. And most importantly, it's also the language of teaching and learning in higher institutions next year. So that is why it is important to ensure that you scoop, if not you get, and you work hard to achieve quality results in the subject, because if you have good results in English, ultimately you are in a position to tackle also content subject, because they are being taught and examined in English. So we are going to look today into what is that you can expect as a grade 12 learner, the class of 2024, in as far as the formal tasks that are concerned in English, what is the skills that are expected for you to learn and to sharpen in English, and also to know, because you cannot plan if you do not know what is that is expected from you. So after this segment, you will be in a position to understand that this is what is expected from me as a grade 12 learner. These are the tasks that I'm going to execute, and then ensuring that at the end of the year, these are the skills that I have accumulated, I have learned, I have practiced, I have sharpened in preparation for examination. Each and every task is important, no matter the mark allocation, no matter the percentage, because everything constitutes for your 25%, which will be your case, and then your case, it will be all these tasks that I'm going to do with you from term 1, 2 and 3, and then exam, which is paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, is going to constitute 75%, and overall that is how your 100% will be calculated for your final year mark. Now, in English, we've got 4 skills. The first skill is listening and speaking. That is, remember, all these skills are what are stated in the curriculum and assessment policy statement, that is also known as a CAPS document, that which is the umbrella policy to guide you on, and to guide you but also to guide educators on how to teach English, first additional language. And then we've got the 4 skills. It's important because we cannot speak about concepts of English without the inclusion, if not the explanation of the 4 skills that you are going to acquire, because every concept that you are going to learn throughout the course of the year is centered around the 4 skills that are stipulated in the CAPS document. Now, the first skill is listening and speaking. It means that you should expect tasks in your daily teaching that are going to equip, if not to sharpen the skill, if not to teach you how to listen for information and how to speak. Remember, in English, we also have what you call a communicative approach and a text-based approach. So it means that you are going to learn critical language skills on how to communicate, use language to communicate, that which is listening and speaking. And then we also have reading and viewing, that also includes your comprehension, your visual literacy. That is the skill that is centered around the ideas, if not the objective of the skill is to teach learners to critically view and critically read information, such as your comprehension. And then we also have what you call writing and presenting. Now, this is a skill that is mainly centered around paper 3, that which is creative writing, but not only limited to paper 3. So writing and presenting, it will include all your transactional text, starting from your diary entry, formal and informal letters, writing of a summary. That will be the 3rd skill. The 4th skill, therefore, it will be language structures and convention. Normally, that is examined in question 5, but however, you may find language questions across other sub-questions, like maybe in advert, there may be one language question, in cartoon, there may be one language question. So these are the 4 skills that you should know, that these are the skills that are going to be sharpened, that are going to be taught throughout the course of the year in this subject. Now we are going to look into your term 1. Term 1, we are going to have task 1, task 2, task 3, task 4. Now, for you to build up towards a distinction in English, it means each and every task is important. Don't assume that task is just out of 10 marks, so therefore it is not important. Ensure that you start building and understanding and ensuring that you understand thoroughly what is expected from you from each and every task. Because remember, whatever that you are going to be examined throughout the course of the year, it's a build up to what is that you can expect in the final year examination. So you're not going to wait for prep examination and final examination to be serious. So you start, if you want to get good results in English, you start with the year. So the first task that you are going to, that will be administered, is out of 10 marks. That is constitute only 20% of your case, or if not of your overall case mark. That will be listening for listening comprehension. That is where now your teacher will read a comprehension for you without you reading, and then what the skill that you are going to learn there, or to learn there, is what a listening skill. So you are going to learn how to listen critically for information, and then also use what you have learned to respond to questions. So it is out of 10 marks. You must ensure that you are ready for it. And then the second task is a writing one, which is a transactional text, and then that will be out of 30 marks. So normally when it's 30 marks, we know that will be your longer transactional text. Longer transactional text, I expect when you are in grade 12, you know all the writing pieces that fall under the longer transactional text, such as your obituary, email, different types of letters, dialogue, and so forth. So you must know all your longer transactional text, their features, and structure. Because remember, with writing, what is important is to understand the format. You must know, if you must be in a position to differentiate, for an example, to differentiate between a formal letter and a friendly letter. You must be in a position to understand the format of an obituary, to say when you write an obituary, what is the format, and then also to know the content, what are those pointers that you need to include. And then also within the writing of a transactional text, remember that the writing is a crucial skill in English, because paper 3 constitute 100 marks. And paper 3, that's where you need to demonstrate your ability to write. So this task is very much important, is very much crucial. Don't just take it for granted, because we are going to use it now to check as to whether are you in a position, and also to build up those writing skills and to harness those writing skills. So you need to also refresh your memory and to revisit the writing processes. Grade 12's writing processes are important. Your planning, your mind map, your first draft, to read and proofread your work and edit your work before writing the final draft. So you need to start as early as now to know and to religiously follow all the steps of the writing process, because that will help you to develop good writing skills in such a way that when now we go to final examination where you write paper 3, and bearing in mind that paper 3, that's where the bulk of the marks are, you are in a position to do justice to the paper and ultimately do well, and that constitutes 88% of your case mark. The third task, remember you're still in term 1, is writing of an essay. The same, you see that in just first term 1, writing is going to be very important. And with writing, there's no way that you can say you are an excellent writer. Even authors do have editors who go through their work to edit. So the best way to sharpen your writing skill is to ensure that you follow the process of process writing, and most importantly is you also practice. And as much as you practice mathematics, you also need to practice writing. Remember, you are learning English as your first additional language, not as your home language. And then what is central to all of these skills is vocabulary, because in the absence of vocabulary, you will not be in a position to execute any task stated here. So you also need to invest in your vocabulary. Make sure that you learn every new words. It might be on a daily basis or on a weekly basis. Have your vocabulary, a book where you dedicate that book to be your vocabulary list, and you go through that book every time to write new words and new concepts. That will help you to have a rich command of the language. ultimately that will become effortless for you to express yourself in English, and most importantly to be in a position to write accordingly. Now this will be writing of essays, which is a 50 marks. Now I want you also to concentrate on this one, not to say you must neglect any task. All these tasks are very much important, but if you look at term 1, you only have 4 tasks. You have task 1, 2, 3 and 4, and this is 10 marks, 30 marks, 50 marks, 40 marks. So the task that weighs more marks is the 50 marks, which is writing of an essay, which is formal task number 3 for term 1. It means that you need to revise all those structures of an essay. You must know all the types of essays. In grade 12, it's expected of you to know all the types of essays, because even though combination essays are actually accommodated and accepted, that you can write one essay that constitute of different forms of essays. But I will say that when you are in grade 12, it is important to know the approach that you are going to take when writing an essay. And for this task, you can also revisit my YouTube lesson that I did last year on writing of an essay. So writing is going to be very crucial this for term 1, grade 12. So please make sure that your writing skills are on point, and practice when it comes to writing. And then now towards the end of the term, we are going to have control test number 1, that which is going to include language structure and convention, comprehension, summary, and language structure and comprehension, as well as comprehension and summary. And these are normally the concepts that are treated in paper 1. So it means that it's expected of you to know and to execute all these tasks for term 1. And then now when it comes to term 2, we are going to have your oral. Remember the 4 skills that I have stated in the beginning. I said that we have listening and speaking. That's where now you are going to use what you call a communicative approach. A communicative approach it means that you are going to demonstrate your ability and your competency to use language for communicative purposes. You are going to have 225 marks, which is the weighting for term 2. That will be oral and another oral and literature assignment, as well as mid-year examination. So it will be dependent on your teachers. Your teachers will go through all these preparations with you, and they will prepare you adequately for prepared speech. Please make sure that you do justice to your oral presentations as well. Make a research. You are in grade 12. Make sure that your presentation is thought-provoking. Your presentation has at least elements of research on it. Remember, at the end of the year, we also have oral marks alone, and they are also moderated. So it's important that you also put much needed effort on both your orals, be it unprepared or prepared. And then we are going to have what you call the literature assignment. Remember, in our various schools, we administer and we are taught various literature genres. It might be short stories, a novel, it might be drama, poetry, and so forth. So your teachers again will take you through what is expected from you for this task. But with the literature assignment, it's going to be very unique because it's going to constitute of a shorter transactional text. Remember, shorter transactional text in paper 3. We are talking about your diary entry, instructions, poster, advertisement, all those pieces that fall under shorter transactional text. That should be between 80 to 100 words. So it's going to be out of 35 marks, and then 15 marks will be based on the contextual questions based on the genre that you are doing at your respective school, and then 20 marks will be from it will be a shorter transactional text. It might be that maybe you are asked to write a diary entry based on a particular character in the novel or in the short story, and then section B, it will be contextual questions based on the genre that you are doing. So it's also equally important that you study and you balance the 3 papers in English. Make sure that you also read your genres Don't wait for the 11th hour. Don't wait for examination to try to cram the entire short stories in few days, to cram the novel in few days. Start with the year. Make sure that you know your literature, you understand your literature, so that when you get to this task, you also do justice to the task. And then in mid-year examination now, that's where now you are going to have a taste of exam, where now you are going to write paper 1. That will be comprehension, summary, advert, cartoon, and language, 80 marks. And then we are also going to write paper 2, which is also paper 2. Remember, it's your literature, depending on what is that you are doing at your school. It might be poetry and novel, or short stories and drama. So you can see that already all the 3 papers are going to be examined just in both in term 1 and term 2. What you must also note here in term 2 is the absence of paper 3 for mid-year examination. But it does not mean that you must forget about paper 3. I will give you the secret. If you want to win in English, ensure that you have exceptional skill and you develop exceptional skill throughout the course of the year for paper 3, because like I have said at the beginning, that it's indeed where your distinctions come from, because that's where the bulk of the marks are. So for practice purposes, I would say maybe if get previous question papers for paper 3, and then just write paper 3 in your maybe practice book for practice purposes, even though it won't be administered during the term 2 examination. And then that will be a 225 marks for term 2. And then term 3 now, that's where you are going to write your preparatory examination, grade 12. That's where now you'll be now heading to what's the end, if not the last leg of your academic year. And that's where you are going to write fully fledged papers. Remember, in June you only wrote, you are going to write 2 papers, but now in term 3 you are going to write how many papers? 3. You are going to write paper 1, paper 2, and paper 3. So all of that is going to be 250 marks, and all these that you have done now for the rest of the year, they are going to contribute 25% towards your CAS mark, and then you will be awaiting the 75% that we should be writing in November 2024 as your final examination. So this is what is going to be expected from you. These are the tasks that are formal tasks that you are going to expect it to execute. I would give you advice and tips to say, make sure that you tackle each and every task like it is your last one. Put much needed effort. Know the skills that are required for each and every task. Know the objective, because there's no way that you can learn something without knowing the objective. Learn the objective of each and every task, because remember, all these small tasks contribute now towards your development and your learning of various skills and preparation, ultimately your preparation towards writing of your final examination. Please make sure that you start and punctuate the year with hard work. Put much needed effort. Don't take it for granted that it is just language. Remember, it's not your mother's tongue. It's important that you also make time in your study timetable to squeeze in languages, especially English, because like I've alluded in the beginning of the lesson, that English is central, is the heartbeat of the curriculum, since it cuts across the curriculum. And then also what is important, I would say, please work on your vocabulary, because what I have noted is that most learners would have an idea of how to approach a particular question. It might be in essay, it might be in literature, but now because of poor vocabulary, you lack necessary words to drive your point home in words. So work on your vocabulary. Read more. The more you read, the more you'll come across new words, and have that book dedicated to, call it a vocabulary list book, where you would write new words. It might be on a daily basis, even words from other subjects. Write them down. Use a dictionary to find the definition of those words. Ultimately, towards the end of the year, you will be having a very sufficient vocabulary bank, that which will help you effortlessly to maneuver around English papers. Thank you once more. Don't forget to subscribe and look out for more uploads this year, where we are going to tackle various skills, various topics and approaches to examination, unpacking literature and all the papers and everything that is concerned in English, as a gesture to do what? To sharpen our skills and to work towards distinctions. Thank you so much.